You are listening to 91.7 KPSU, Goodwell, Oklahoma. Ty Fly and the Doug Bug Show back on again without Daddy Dave. We pulled up the internet here, got some more stories to tell you about. First story I think is kind of interesting is LT thinks he's done as a Charger.
Most running backs, when they hit the age of 30, slow down in production. So he probably why. Plus Squirrels starting to be.
Well, why pay that much for a player that, gets hurt almost every year?
But when healthy, he's one of the most dominant running backs.
That is true. He is a pretty good running back. And him and the Chargers go through this almost every year. And then they give him, a one-year deal, and then the next year it's, well, do we want LT back or not?
But when he scored all those touchdowns and all those rushing yards, yeah, they signed him immediately.
Where do you think LT would go if he won't be a Charger next year?
Some team that's desperate for a true running back.
What about Oakland?
Oakland's got a lot of young, talented running backs.
Why not have an elderly guy teaching them, though?
But they need help. They need a quarterback before they need another running back.
True, and I was looking at draft predictions. They don't draft a quarterback. That's pretty sad. I think they will, though.
They need to.
Sticking with the NFL, another story here that I am kind of excited about, actually, is they're looking at reinstating
Dante Stallworth.
Yeah, and if you don't know the worry about Dante Stallworth, Stallworth made a really big mistake in his life over this past season, and he was driving under the influence down there in Miami and ran over a gentleman and eventually did kill him. He was kicked out of the NFL. The ban for life statement.
And just like Michael Vick all over again, just different. Not dogfighting, but drunk driving.
And Dante right off the bat was remorseful about it. And he's been through the whole
therapy,
the AA stuff, and he paid the family basically his whole NFL salary, and then he communicates with the family because he feels bad about it, and he's been real remorseful, and he's been a very big push ever since it happened to eliminate drunk driving, and we played our commercial at the top of our show, our favorite one, which we sit here and we laugh about it, but it's a serious thing, and people die from this, and it's not a good thing.
Oh, too bad they already got rid of Braylon Edwards. Now he's like the only receiver over there.
Well, and then Josh Cribbs wants out too. So, nothing ever goes good for the Browns.
Especially at receiver.
At any position. They drafted Brady Quinn.
He just went to the wrong team. He would fit much better in the Patriots offense than the Cleveland Browns offense.
Well, obviously, who started, New England's offense?
Drew a blank.
The Notre Dame's old coach.
Charlie Weiss.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
And then he goes to Notre Dame and then coaches
him for
basically the year that he did extremely well.
2 years.
So obviously he would have fit that system. Looking else news here, Clippers coach quits.
No big surprise.
Yeah, I mean the Clippers are the redheaded stepchildren of Los Angeles, so
yeah,
nothing else really going big there. And we were talking about the possibility of a lockout during our break, and we brought up a very interesting topic, and that is if a lockout happens,
college football is going to benefit the most.
Exactly, and all the focus on football will go to college football. Well, there's a big flaw in college football right now.
The BCS system.
Exactly. And, this would either swing it one way or another because, what's the big deal right now is the NFL playoffs. Huge deal. Yeah. And especially the Super Bowl. Honestly, if you have, all these advertisements that, don't have Super Bowl Sunday anymore, and they go to the next best thing, which is college national championship game, but then it's not clear if that's the championship game, if, somebody from the Rose Bowl or the Orange Bowl is better than the team that actually won.
But it also goes with record, too. Like, 2 undefeated teams at the end of the regular season. Yet one is ranked 4th, but the other's 1st.
Exactly. It's just going to be one of those situations. And I think, as soon as all this advertisement and everything that happens, if there is no NFL in 2011, it's going to exploit NCAA. And then they're going to have to change something.
Something has to give. It might be for the better or worse, though, because if they don't fix the BCS and just leave it, same problem can happen again, because teams are only getting better and better.
So, and we have already talked a little bit about the Super Bowl and Dwight Freeney. They're very optimistic about him playing.
But they were optimistic when he played versus the Cardinals too.
Well, and that's just one of those deals. Is they post this here, and of course, on the other hand, Sean Payton's reading the same article.
And, he has to have prepared 2 game plans now. One with Freeney and one without.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And, if you have to spread yourself so thin about making a plan with Freeney or without Freeney.
Because it's going to change the blocking scheme.
Because who knows if Freeney's playing or not.
Breeze.
Well, no. Who knows he's playing or not is the Colts franchise.
Yeah.
And they're going to say everything impossible to confuse the other side. I mean, if I had an injured... Well, look at our situation right now. If you don't really know me and Doug that well, we play at the end of the year, as soon as the Super Bowl teams are decided, we take the teams. I take the NFC team, he takes the AFC team, and we play a franchise season, and then play each other in the Super Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday. Currently, we're waiting for Super Bowl Sunday to come to play our game, and you are questionable with Joseph Addai. I have to have a strategy with Joseph Addai and without Joseph Addai, and that just spreads my resources too far.
Whereas I know everybody on your team's playing, so I just...
Well, and then you also got to see, my quarterback get hurt. Yeah, Breeze goes down for me in the conference championship game. It's not a pretty deal. So other than that, that's what's going on in the major news. We normally do a pick section.
But we can't do picks without everybody here.
Exactly, and David decides, not to show up again. So we'll go through and look at some interesting college basketball matchups. I know one that you're going to want to talk about a lot is the Auburn-Arkansas game.
I mean, who would have thought Arkansas would win 3 straight conference games? But when fully healthy, they're a good team without suspensions.
Honestly, the SEC West is super weak in my mind.
I mean, we play the bottom 2 teams at home, which should be a win. And we'll be 6-3 if we win both. All the talent's on the East, like Kentucky. You still got Tennessee and Florida. And South Carolina, the only team to beat Kentucky.
Exactly. That side's just extremely difficult. And then what about, BYU with only 3 losses? They face UNLV next on Saturday. That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
Arizona State, team that we talk about a lot, versus Washington.
Washington already beat them once, so...
No, Arizona State beat Washington in the first game, but this game is at Washington, where they've dropped 1 home game all season long.
It don't look like they'll drop 2.
Not likely. The big highlight key game on Saturday, Villanova number 2, Georgetown number 7. That'll be a good game.
Yeah. Duke and Boston College don't produce good games, especially when there was Jared Dudley versus J.J. Redick. That was classic battles.
Alrighty, so we're back at our 10-minute restriction. So we will go back to some more music and come back with more sports talk after this.